Howdy partners, welcome to my first Thunder Junction review and upgrade guide. We begin with Most Wanted, a mid-range deck with a ton of removal and stalling options, 20 in fact, ranging from goad and attack elsewhere effects, theft from across various zones, and the usual Mardu includes, that are sorely needed to remove the deck's main speed bump, getting creatures to connect with opponents' faces. Ironically, some of the assembled 33 outlaws in this precon are not wanted, and I will introduce you to more compelling replacements. Olivia, Opulent Outlaw's second ability, suggests our avenue to victory is through treasure generation, which she also facilitates upon outlaw combat damage. Via her first ability, pay 3 and sacrifice 2 treasures to grow our entire team in an impressive and scary way. Note, Olivia doesn't say other alongside either of her abilities, and as a flyer she can get in to create the treasure and carry multiples of +1/+1 counters as an impressive threat in the zone. We will be all in on growing our loot and therefore our team. In the end, we will send 13 cards to the Dusty Town Cemetery and replace them for just over $20. Our early setup is supported by 3 3-mana rocks, Bandit's Hall, Glitter Stockpile, and Bounty Board. Bandit's Hall and Bounty Board both provide each colour of Mardu, but also are accompanied with little extras. Commit a crime by targeting an opponent's resources, and we gain a loot counter on Bandit's Hall. 2 of these become card draw. Bounty Board introduces a fun minigame and encourages the table to kill a pesky creature, and targeting in this way actually commits a crime for Bandit's Hall. I love the interaction between these mana rocks. They are accompanied by Discreet Retreat, another, I'm going to say it, banger in the Manabase that lets us add 2 towards outlaw spells and abilities and draws us cards when we cast our first outlaw spell each turn, and this ramp package is rounded off with the standard ramping fare. We don't need to make additions to these as we will be Scrooge McDucking our way for a pile of treasure as the game progresses. We progress our game plan with outlaw token generators to populate our board quicker than other boards can grow their defences. New card Angelic Sellsword is pivotal to our plans, creating an outlaw every time a non-token creature enters the battlefield under our control, whether that be casting creatures from our hand or cascading into them from Rain of Riches. This is not a once per turn effect either, and these tokens pump other creatures, including the Sellsword, who can draw us cards. Sellsword is accompanied by We Ride at Dawn, which creates mercenaries when Olivia attacks, and provides an essential backup plan for when she is removed, letting our creature tokens convoke her back out. This token aspect of the deck is supported by Misfortune Teller, Queen Marchesa, and my absolute favourite card in the deck, Vihan Gold Waker, that turns our treasures into 3/3 outlaws until end of turn and gives all outlaws vigilance and haste. Vihan is a relevant threat at all points in the game, but dropping him late on a board of our accrued loot to the horror of unexpected opponents can swing the game. All these creatures make creature type relevant token threats, so let's add more of these and replace a card that makes creatures outside of the outlaw creature type. Ogre Slumlord makes rats. Growing these rats with Olivia would be fun, especially with their death touch, but instead let's put in Hellspur Posse Boss. Geez, try saying that 5 times fast. From the main set, a mana value cheaper, a haste enabler for the outlaws we control, and the 2 that ETB with it. Haste allows us to pop creatures at opponents when they've lowered their shields to attack. The widespread haste that Vihan and Hellspur Posse Boss offers will make opponents have to rethink their combat steps. The Precon also gifts us 6 flyers. I like Aetherborn Marauder as a late game surprise, moving all +1/+1 counters onto a flying lifelink body, especially with our Hellspur and Vihan haste enabling, is a massive life total swing and potential knockout. The rest represent a range of welcome effects: removal and card draw with Rankle, encouraging opponents to attack elsewhere with Brina, and the aforementioned token generation and card draw with Angelic Sellsword. Let's have 2 flying replacements to help support an evasive win. Out goes Marshland Bloodcaster. Our treasure generation will be faster than this Warlock's life as mana discount, and out goes Nighthawk Scavenger, who I would keep in if we were leaning into the lifelink, but we have 2 better flying outlaw options. Even Interrupter to protect our board, and our Fragile Commander with its exile target spell effect, and Malevolent Witchkite, a dragon warlock that we can use to turn our treasures and token creatures into card draw. You will note I've kept in Fane the Broker, even though the token creatures he creates are non-outlaw inklings. I've been in too many games where flyers have taken the game, turning our treasures into a flyer or removing a counter courtesy of Olivia to create a treasure is exactly what we want to be doing. Next, I remove 2 generic creatures to give us 2 more late game win cons. Mist Meadow Skulk and Changeling Outcast can go kick rocks at the local watering hole and make way for Pirate Port Raiser's extra combat step, and Warlock Headliner Scarlet's rare Mardu creatures can't block this turn effect. The more avenues to win, the better. Finally, Camber the Plunderer, Humble Defector, and Temple of the False God make way for Swashbucklers Extraordinaire Legionnaire, who ETBs with a treasure and turns out outlaws into double striking threats, Ruthless Knave, who takes advantage of those token creatures to create more treasures, and Seer of Stolen Sight, an evasive attacker who sees our treasures go to the bin and lets us see more cards. The Precon also has other ways to close out or move the game closer to the win. Mirror Entity, a pseudo outlaw, is our big mana into X backup if Olivia gets staked, and Tenured Inkcaster accumulates death by 1,000 cuts once we have counters on our creatures, helped along by Dire Fleet Ravager and Angrass Marauders, taking huge chunks of life from the good, the bad and the ugly. 4 more cards need to go so we can increase our treasure production. We replace the weirdly specific Hex with Blood Money, 1 mana value more expensive, but a potential bounty of riches follows its wake. And from the so-so Precon mana base, we swap Demolition Field for Treasure Vault. Demolition Field is fine, but Treasure Vault has more potential for greatness. Trailblazer Boots is out. Non-basic lands are rampant in EDH, but I want to prioritize treasure production with a card like Guild Artisan. If our commander is such an important part of the build, we should want to be able to keep casting her with accumulated treasure, so let's have her pull her weight in this regard. Finally, 2 more outlaws failed the High Noon Shootout, Witch of the Moors and Captain Lannery's Storm. In a deck with more life gain, the Witch would be a shoo-in, but not here. There's a new Sheriff in town, Lotho, taxing other players' second spells with a treasure token, and Captain Lannery's Storm is making 1 treasure for herself when she attacks. How about 2 treasures whenever we connect with the team, courtesy of Grim Hireling, who even packs some extra removal. Finally, when our game plan has been derailed, possibly because of some damsel tied to the tracks, we have these 2 recursion options, including the Precon. Back in Town, a 2 black and return X outlaws to play sorcery, and Greywater's Fixer, which gives all outlaws Encore. We have lots of productive ETB triggers that play well with this effect, so all is not lost if our board takes a High Noon bullet. The new cards in Most Wanted are well designed. Vihan is really fun and the approach to 3 mana rocks is exciting. Can't wait to put Bounty Board in more decks. Where this deck maybe has some stumbles but also shines is staying true to the outlaw creature type. More outlaws that match concepts are needed to make this deck really competitive, but straying outside the creature type will make it just any old Mardu deck. If you've enjoyed this humble free content today, a like and subscribe would mean the world to me. Check out my Fallout Precon guides and my deck techs for Rebecca and Loot while you are here. And until next time, I have been Lee, and this has been MTG Specs.